It is hard. Most of the time I was an anchor, my shift was 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. So basically my day was turned upside down, right? I'd get off of work at 10 a.m. and go home and have an evening and sleep.
Yeah.
And then you get up, at midnight and have to be at work. And so I do think that it probably takes years off your life, right? It was
Sure.
hard to be in that. I think of it like new parents feel, and they're walking around in a stupor, but you can't because you've got to actually perform at your job, right?
Yep.
And so I think that you do have to come up with rituals to be able to self-care during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I would tape all my favorite evening TV shows. We had VHS
Yeah,
back
back
then.
in the day,
So
yeah.
I'd tape them, and then I'd come home at 10 a.m. and draw all the blinds so the house was dark and make dinner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then put in the TV shows like it was evening, and I just reversed my day.
Yep.
And then I would, sometimes I could get a friend to like meet me for a drink at 11 a.m., right? So I could pretend it was happy hour. But,
Yep.
but I think that part was hard. And I think the competition is really hard, especially for a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a woman, not just in journalism, in many ways, we're taught that we have a limited shelf life, right?
Yeah.
And at some point, you're going to age out of this and nobody's going to want to watch you on TV.
Yep.
And so there's a real sort of culture to like do as much as possible, as fast as possible, so you don't hit that deadline.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody is in the same boat and everybody wants the same things. And there is a spirit of competitiveness among your colleagues.
Yeah.
And as much as I wish it was more collaborative and we're all in this and we're going to make great TV, most of the time you're just hoping you get picked for the lead story over your friend sitting next to you.
Yep.
And I think that I loved it. I don't have a bad thing to say about my TV career, but I think that could get wearing sometimes,
Yep.
right? Because you're friends with these people because nobody else is working your schedule. So like these are the people you hang out with,
Mm-hmm.
but also you know that one of you would stab the other one in the back if you had to,
Right. Right.
And that's a real thing. And then I think the last thing that wasn't really an issue for me, but sometimes is hard is there are things like moral turpitude clauses in your contract. And it was very obvious to me when I was in TV that part of my job was the way I looked. And,
Yeah, sure.
And if I got in a car accident and broke my nose, that could jeopardize whether I had a job.
Yep.
Right? And I think it's hard, again, with that timeline, I think it's hard to be so dependent on,
Mm-hmm.
keeping it together,
Yes.
right? And
Yep.
what you look like, and then your behavior off the clock can jeopardize your job
Yeah.
in a way that I don't know if my employees think about today, right? They're up on Instagram doing what they want to do in their private time because that's not work time.
Yep.
Whereas back then I didn't have Instagram, but if I was, overly drunk at a bar and throwing up in the corner, that would jeopardize my job.
Yep.
Even if it was Saturday night and had nothing to do with work, it was in my contract that I was expected to uphold certain standards on and off the clock. So it's kind of a around the clock thing where this is who you are and you're recognized in public. So
Yep.